What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel where we talk all things box. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you get notified straight away as soon as we drop that new content on this channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, immediately in the aftermath of Kell Brook versus Amir Khan, we had Chris Eubank Jr., who was just kind of on the broadcast at various times in the show on Sky last Saturday, and he seemed to be very interested in Kell Brook. As I stated in the, I think it was the post-fight Brook Khan review, Eubank Jr. was going on about how Kell Brook took the Golovkin fight from him. That was supposed to be his fight, blah, blah, blah. And for me, I disagree with that because at the end of the day, it was either Eubank or his dad or whatever. But what actually happened, from what I saw at least, was that he was offered the fight with Golovkin, Triple G, and he didn't take the fight. And Kell Brook just, from what Eddie Hearns said to Kell Brook, oh, it's a shame you can't fight Triple G. Just saying it in jest, just not saying it on any serious level. But then Kell Brook said, yeah, I'll take on Triple G, and that's how he got it. Because Eubank didn't take it, and therefore he took it. So anyway, Eubank was saying in the post-fight of Khan and Brook that, he would like the opportunity to fight Kell Brook. That basically the fans are all about names. He's a big name. Kell Brook is a big name now for having beaten Amir Khan. So that's what it's about in boxing. It's a business. It's about getting the big names together. They asked Chris Eubank Jr. about the weight. He said, no, I don't think I should have to come down in weight. I think he's fought Triple G at 160. Therefore, he can come up to my weight and fight me there. They said, well, would you not be having any wiggle room? And he said, yeah, maybe I could do it at 158 pounds, which is 2 pounds below the 160 pound middleweight limit. So that was his thoughts. And since then, we've had Dom Ingle talking about it. But Dominic Ingle, Kell Brook's trainer, put it into perspective and said, look, at the end of the day, Kell Brook is not moving up nowhere. We'd be willing to compromise to go to like 152, or I think it might have been 154 that he said, and we'd fight Chris Eubank Jr. there at that sort of weight. And for me personally, I think it's one of those call-outs that it probably makes business sense. I would say it makes business sense because, as Chris Eubank said, these are two guys that the public knows about. These are two guys the public's familiar with and all that. So yeah, from that perspective, it would make money. It would sell tickets. But I think from a boxing perspective, objectively looking at it, it doesn't make any real sense for Chris Eubank Jr. because him beating Kell Brook, who has been sort of a career welterweight, and he's been a career middleweight and super middleweight. So him beating Kell Brook, in the grand scheme of things, won't do anything for his career. All it will do is possibly, well, it will give him money and etc., etc. But for his legacy, for his career as a fighter, it doesn't make any sense because he's a middleweight and he's not. He's like 2 divisions above Kell Brook. So from that perspective, it makes no sense. Someone like Chris Eubank Jr. Should be going after the guy he said he was going after before, Triple G, Golovkin. He should be going after Jamal Charlo, guys like that. He should be going after the top middleweights. That's what would make sense for his career because no matter what he does against Kell Brook, and the thing is, if he fights Kell Brook and he doesn't stop Kell Brook, or he happens to look bad in a fight against Kell Brook, then that will diminish his career. That will make Eubank Jr. look a lot worse because it will be the smaller man beating up on the bigger man. So if that fight were to happen and anything other than a Eubank stoppage, for me would be a failure. because Kell Brook's giving up the weight. Kell Brook's the smaller man, and Eubank is the bigger man. So you're going to expect the bigger man to overwhelm and to stop the smaller man. So any other result than that wouldn't really be satisfactory. So it's one of those where I think, apart from the money, and the money might not even be that great. I don't know what the money will be, but I think apart from the money, it makes no real sense for Chris Eubank Jr. I think, however, for Kell Brook, you could argue that it makes a bit of sense because Kell Brook would be the man going up. So if Kell Brook could go up in weight, if he could, go up to some sort of catch weight or go up to like middleweight, fight Chris Eubank Jr. and beat Chris Eubank Jr., I think that will do wonders for his career. That'll just put like a bit of shine on his career. That'll be like a bit of a boost for Kell Brook as a boxer if he's able to step up in weight, beat someone like Chris Eubank Jr. Whereas the reverse would not be true because Kell Brook's the end of his career. Chris Eubank Jr. is, he needs to get a move on. He's in his 30s as well. Not much age difference between the two, so he needs to get a move on. So he stands to lose a lot more than Kell Brook if they ever did fight. I personally think there's other fights out there. Kell Brook could gain from this fight, but only, as I say, if he wins. You've got Conor Benn out there, which I think that would be a good fight for Kell Brook. But other than that, let me know what you think about this whole situation. Eubank Jr. calling out Kell Brook. Do you think it would be a good fight? Do you think it's a fight that should happen? Do you, like me, believe Chris Eubank Jr. should be targeting middleweights and super middleweights? Guys like maybe Andrade or someone like that, someone of his own size, that's what I think. But let me know what you think about this, and until next time, it's MKO Pugilism over and out.